speaking in the wake of Sporting Lisbon game, and what a game it was for Arsenal. I mean, we spoke at just after the weekend against the Forest game about how that was their best performance of the season. Has that now quickly been topped?
I think so. You can't really give any other answer to that. It was sensational stuff from Arsenal in Lisbon. It's a statement heard around Europe. I imagine that result, everyone will be looking at that and thinking, what on earth has happened there? I mean, Sporting have been so good at home, unbeaten in the last year. I think 13 months since they last lost at home. We've just seen them tear Manchester City to shreds, really, just a few weeks ago. So Arsenal went there expecting a really difficult game. I think all the Arsenal fans were looking at it and sort of worrying about Victor Gyökeres and everything like that. But in the end, it was a stroll in the park for Arsenal. They were just so good from the. There was an intensity about them, honestly, from the first whistle that you could see they just wanted to lay a bit of a marker down. I think it's been a difficult time for Arsenal away from home in Europe in recent games. I think it's 4 games without a goal. I was over in Milan watching the Milan game when they played pretty well, dominated large chunks of the game, but never really looked like scoring. That threat just wasn't there. But last night it was the complete opposite. Every time they went forward, they looked like they were going to score. Sporting just couldn't cope with them. The intensity, the press, the speed of movement, it was just all there for Arsenal. It all came together, and sensational result.
Yeah, there's a number of stats that came out from it which just underline how impressive it was. Only the 3rd time in their history they've scored 5 away goals in the Champions League game. 5 different goal scorers. Obviously, that's got to be a plus when you look at spreading the goals around team, and you look at some other clubs who have maybe struggled with that. City immediately come to mind this season. That's been one of the criticisms. So 5 different scores around the team. And as you say, Sporting were perfect at home prior to this game. Hadn't lost in 13 months at home. I think that's as many goals Arsenal scored as in their previous 8 Champions League away games, all in one. So many stats to come from that. I mean, it's pretty much, this is a Sporting side. I think maybe we'll know under this new manager of Sporting, they're under different conditions now to when they beat City. But they've still got the same players who have been garnering so much praise in recent times. So maybe we'll wait and see just how impressive it was from Arsenal compared, because it's not necessarily the Amarin team. It's a new manager finding his legs in the dugout. But whatever way you slice it, from Sporting's point of view, a pretty perfect night for Arsenal. And I suppose the hope from Arsenal fans now is, we've got these players back, more or less first choice. Obviously, Ben White's still injured, but first full strength 11. Is this now the real Arsenal we're seeing that we didn't maybe see towards the opening weeks of the season because of injuries, suspensions? Is now the real Arsenal that, obviously you hope to see going forward?
Yeah, well, it looks like it. There's all the hallmarks of last season's Arsenal in the last couple of games that we've seen, the way they've gone forward, the goals they've scored, like you said, sharing the goals around, which is such a strong point of this Arsenal squad and has been for the last couple of seasons. And there's just a fluidity about them that hasn't been there. And it obviously, a large chunk of it is down to the fact that they've actually got players back now available for the first time this season. We spoke about it, didn't we, after the Forest game? There's just a balance to the side that has been lacking. The left-hand side has actually got left-hand-sided players playing on it. The right-hand side is looking really strong. Odegaard's back. You've got that relationship with Saka again, which we saw again last night. Jurrien Timber played his part massively again, just as he did at the weekend. Sensational, I thought, Jurrien Timber yesterday. And they just looked like the Arsenal team that in the second half of the season was scoring 6 at West Ham, 5 at Burnley, 6 at Sheffield United, that were putting teams to the sword. Now, look, it's only been a couple of games, obviously, so you can't get too far ahead of yourselves, but the signs are looking good for Arsenal. The crucial thing now is, of course, keeping everyone fit. Gabriel limped off at the end last night. Doesn't look like anything serious, and Mikel didn't seem overly concerned in his press conference afterwards when asked about it, but, that's just another sort of sight of a player limping off is just enough for fans to sort of, oh no, what's happening here? Not again. Hopefully, like I said, that's not going to be the case. I mean, Saliba and Gabriel last night were just at their monstrous best. They did not give Gyökeres a sniff. You could see they were up for it from the very first minute. I thought they would be, because you see him, Gyökeres is very similar, I think, to Erling Haaland in terms of the way he plays, how strong he is, how he likes to just physically dominate defenders. But that's the sort of game that Saliba and Gabriel relish. They love playing against Haaland. And I thought they probably would relish it against Gyökeres and they'd want to prove a point. And they just didn't give him a sniff. He had absolutely no joy over them. They won every duel. Gabriel sort of rubbed it in his face a little bit by mimicking his celebration when he scored. And, the pair of those two are excellent. As I said, Timber played well, Calafiori played well. And it just looked like a balanced Arsenal team. So, yeah, there's definitely very exciting signs for Arsenal fans at the moment from what we've seen in the last couple of games. But it is only a couple of games. They need to do this basically till New Year. now. This is the level they have to hit. These are the results they have to consistently pick up if they want to get themselves back into the title race. And I mean, look, they're in a good position in the Champions League now. I think this was a crucial game. Had they not got 3 points from that game, I think top 8 would have looked pretty tough. Now, I think considering they've got what was on paper their hardest looking fixture sort of out the way now, you look at the next 3 they've got to finish this Champions League campaign. I think they're giving themselves a real good chance now of getting top 8. I think they'll be disappointed if they don't make it from here. So that's another real positive from last night.